What are three things, could be two, three things that you believe you need in order to be happy? And that could be for you, it could be for people in general. I'm just curious how you would think of that question or answer that question.
One of the great things about you and I being dear friends and having these conversations is that you tend to be very good at thinking in bullets and lists of three things, and that's just not how my brain works. And I can tell you the essence of how I relate to that question.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give you a three bullet answer because that's just not how this brain operates. I've built a lifestyle around being true to myself. Largely, maybe a big reason is because of my mom used to always tell me as a kid to follow my heart, follow my dreams. I never made decisions for money or for external things. And I always trusted if I was true to myself, these things would follow. And so, my professional life, my foundation, my school, I only work with people who I feel are ethically aligned, who have a good energy, who I feel really good about intuitively. I keep empty space in my life. I rarely have more than one or two meetings a day. My life is about quality and not quantity. It's about depth and not breadth. My business is based on doing very, very deep and very excellent work with just a handful of people. And so I really like to cultivate quality as a way of life. And I believe that when you're not cultivating quality, you're essentially cultivating sloppiness. And so,
Right.
The idea of building the musculature of quality and being like a heat-seeking missile for me, I take great pleasure in observing the beauty of the little moments in life. Mm-hmm. And so for me, my lifestyle is based on, I'm working out every day. I just focus on structuring a day that will allow for my creative process to be rich. I'm present with my son. My office is at home. I'm with him in the morning. I'm with him. I see him throughout the day. I'm with him. I give him his bath and read him his story at night. I'm with him. I've eliminated almost all travel that takes me away from my boy. I'm going to a conference this weekend. I'm taking my wife and my baby are coming with me. And I really build a life around being true, and I don't build it around anything material. And that's really the essence of how I personally relate to this question. Of course, there's different solutions for everybody, but that's what works for me.
This is something that is being true to oneself, I think, that most people struggle with, right? And I think it's a goal that most people have, at least in the abstract. But I'd love to dig into some concrete details of that, and perhaps you could share an example of something you changed, like maybe where you got slightly off the path and made a correction to be true to yourself, and what that looked like. Yeah.
Well, for me, a very clear example is my public life. So I was a young kid, fell in love with chess. When I was, I won my first national championship when I was late 8, early 9. When I was 11, a book came out, Searching for Bobby Fischer. And then when I was 15, a movie came out about my life, mm-hmm. based on the same book that my dad initially wrote. And so I was really thrust into the spotlight. And so without me wanting to, I was just, a young, passionate artist. I loved playing chess and competing in chess. I was put out there, and I had paparazzi following me everywhere. I was, I was really living in the spotlight in a way I wasn't necessarily emotionally prepared for. Mm-hmm. And I felt in my teens how that challenged my love for this art, because my love for it was so pure initially. And that tension, that fight to stay true to my art, mm-hmm. Taught me some very deep lessons. And then after I finished high school, I took off and I left the country largely to study chess very deeply, undistracted from publicity. I moved to Eastern Europe. My girlfriend at the time was from Slovenia. No one knew me out there, and it was a beautiful life. And I just left the public world. And since then, when I came back, I've had these periods where I've been exposed to publicity, and I've been in periods where I've been, deep in a cave and moved away from it. And I think that this is a very clean example of other than you, very few people drag me out to the public eye.
Throw a net over the bear and drag him out of the cave.
You have a way of doing that to me. But in a beautiful way. And I've found that the privacy of my life, not doing things, not getting caught up in the swirl of fame or seeking external adulation, mm-hmm. is a very important thing for me personally. And everyone's different, but for me, and maybe I have a little bit of an oversensitivity to this because of my youth, because I was out there so intensely as a young guy, and I think it really challenged my love for the game. This is an example of the kind of decision that I'll make. I mean, I think it's very important for me to live the vast majority of my life privately. I don't do very much that will allow me to be recognized on the street and live my life as a celebrity, because I've gone down that path, and I love my privacy.
Yeah.
And I also have built, a career around my business is working with people who are similar, who are not seeking the limelight, who are not out there on television every day, who are world class, but are no one around them, other than people, very close, have any idea that they have been so incredibly successful from a monetary way. They try to raise their kids not to be spoiled. The kids are gritty kids. They're great philanthropists, really good people. And I'm very drawn to people who have been enormously successful, but don't get caught up in the external crap that comes with success, and are real, who are living their life tapped into the love. And that's how I try to live.